Now, in the previous lecture, we improved our program so that it prints custom print statements, not the default ones that's produced by Scapy. We also managed to get it print the number of packets that have been sent. But the print statement, it's still not very nice. It's still gonna overflow our terminal. So, what we'd like to achieve in this lecture is to use dynamic printing so that we only print one line, which will say packets sent, and then the number of packets will be updated on the same line instead of printing a new line every time the loop runs. Now, the reason why the program is actually printing a new line for every time the loop runs is because whenever we call the print function right here, it automatically appends a new line character at the end. Even though we never put a new line character, which is a /n in our print statement, it will automatically append it to the end of the line. So if we want to print stuff on the same line in Python, we need to tell the print function not to append a print character at the end of the line. And to do that, all we have to do is just put a comma after the function. So literally a comma even after the bracket of the function at the end of the print line. Now, if you just do this as is and go down and run the program, you'll see that we'll actually get stuck and we won't see anything on screen. The reason for this is because Python now is going to put everything that's being printed in a buffer, and then when we quit the program, when we exit out of the loop, you'll see everything is printed for us in here. And as you can see, our print statement is actually working. So it's, instead of putting everything in separate lines, it's putting it in the same line. But the problem is it won't print it until we quit the program or exit the loop. Now, like I said, this is happening because Python is putting all the values that we want to print in a buffer. And in order to fix this, to tell Python that I don't want you to put stuff in a buffer, I want you to print it for me on screen straight away, we need to tell Python to flush this buffer. And to do that, we're going to do sys.stdoutput.flush. So what this says basically tells Python to flush the standard output. So whatever print statements that you have in there, I want you to print it for me instantly and don't wait until the program quits. Now we're using a library called sys, so we need to import this library in here and we are good to go. So now every time we're printing, we're saying we want to print this without the new line character. And then we're telling Python, don't store this in your buffer, flush your buffer and print that for me on screen. So let's go down, clear and run it. And as you can see now, it's printing it as the loop runs. So it's not storing everything in a buffer and everything is being printed on the same line. Now, we're getting closer to our goal, but this is not quite what we want because this is still ugly. It's still gonna fill my terminal horizontally and then it's gonna go down, and it's even uglier than printing one thing in one line. So what would be perfect, what would actually achieve our goal, is if we can move this print statement to the start of the line. So first of all, it's going to print for me packet sent to, and then whenever it needs to print this, I want this to be printed at the start of the line, overwriting what's being printed in here. Then when we reach this print statement, I want you again to start at the start of the line, overwriting the previous print statement. Now to do this, we're going to use the /r string literal. So we had a look on /n or the n string literal, which will go down in one line. We had a look on the tab, which was /t. And today we're going to have a look on /r. And what this says, basically it tells Python that I don't want you to print from where you are right now. I want you to always print this statement from the start of the line. So for example, when we reach this part, instead of printing it from where the cursor is, I want you to go all the way back and start from the start of the line. If we do this for every print, we will be overwriting the previous print and printing the current print, or printing the current statement. So let's go down and have a look on this. And as you can see now, we have only one line, and this one line is dynamically presenting the value that's stored in our count variable, which is called sendPacketsCount. So the print right now is useful and elegant, and it won't overflow our terminal with useless data. Now this solution will only work with Python 2.7 and below. It won't work with Python 3. If you want to achieve this in Python 3, it's actually easier. So let me show you how you do this. First of all, you're not going to need to import the sys, because you won't need to do the standard output flush. And if you want to print stuff on the same line in Python 3 without appending the new line character, then you don't need to use the comma here, so I'm going to remove that. But instead, we're going to put a comma inside and use an argument called end. And basically this argument specifies what character do you want to add to the end of the print statement. And we're going to set this to blank so that we won't add any characters. So with this, it's actually much easier. All you have to do is just use the or literal to start printing at the start of the line, and then use an argument called end with the print statement, and set this argument to nothing so that Python will not add anything to the end of the print statement. So if we go down and use this with Python 3, again, as you can see, we are able to dynamically print the result that is being dynamically incremented in our while loop.